How we doing today, fellas? It is Sunday, and we're talking about scout rifles. I know it's Super Bowl Sunday today, but somebody out there in the Destiny universe might actually wonder, what are scout rifles doing in both PvE and in PvP? So in the patch notes this week, we got an increased base damage on lightweight scout rifles by 5%, increased base damage on rapid fire scout rifles by 6%, and an increase of all scout rifle PvE damage by 10%. I think this marks like what, the third time scout rifles have been buffed in PvE, and I'm not against it. It needs it. So guys, let's break this down in terms of archetypes. So when we talk about lightweight scout rifles, those are scout rifles like Mida Multi-Tool and Vouchsafe. Now they are hitting 54 per crit now and 31 per body. Previously, I think it was hitting 51 per crit and 30 per body. So the TTK value of the weapon is not necessarily better than it was pre 2.1.4. Now you can just kill Guardians 6 resilience or less in 3 crits in 1 body. So it is more forgiving versus it being previously 4 crits only. Now, is weapons like Mida and Vouchsafe much better by adding this forgiveness? I think it's okay. Again, all of these buffs seem to be more favored at forgiveness rather than decreasing the time to kill of the weapon. And forgiveness is not a bad thing here. I think the biggest question is, can Mida Multi-Tool or Vouchsafe compete against pulse rifles, blast furnace, bygones? Currently right now with the maps that are in front of us, it's a hard sell. You can get kills, but the problem is every now and then you'll get hit by a burst from a pulse rifle that'll just flinch you up, and considering there's not a lot of distance between you and your enemies on most of the maps, it could be a problem. So I don't think 200 round per minute scouts are going to be the scouts that I will be investing a lot of time into. Now, moving on, we have the rapid fire scout rifles. These are the ones that actually received a 6% buff. Currently right now, the only rapid fire scout rifle in the game that is present in year 2 that you can put things like mods on it, as well as receive random rolls, is Black Scorpion. Black Scorpion can be picked up from the gunsmith, although I will say the drop rate for some reason has been very slim here lately. I don't know if like Bungie dialed it down or what the case is. I just noticed that Black Scorpion was previously always dropping for me right after Forsaken launch, and then here lately I just can't seem to get one. Could just be me though. Now Black Scorpion's now hitting 47 per crit and 28 per body. Now previously this scout was hitting 45 per crit and 25 per body, so it got a pretty good buff there, and it actually has the ability to kill Guardians 2 resilience or less in simply 4 crits. I know not everyone is rocking 2 resilience, but the selling point to that is its TTK value for those Guardians that are going like high mobility and high recovery and disregarding their resilience. You can kill them in 0.69 seconds, which is very fast, on par with something like Luna's Howl and Not Forgotten. Now let's back up here. Realistically, you're probably going to kill most Guardians and 5 shots. So 3 crits, 2 body, your TTK value is going to be 0.92 seconds. Now, despite the TTK value, yes, being higher here than something like Mida Multi-Tool, I still think that Black Scorpion and rapid fire scout rifles are actually the go-to scout rifles in this sandbox, outside of 150s. Obviously 150s with the right map and the right setup, hands down still the best scouts for PvP. But for these short range maps, for those times that you need a scout rifle to actively duel a pulse rifle, Black Scorpion can do that, especially with the right roll. Which brings us to our random roll guide for Black Scorpion. Yes boys, I want it. If you have it, let me know. I'm looking for rangefinder as our final trait here on Black Scorpion. Now in that middle column, there's actually a lot of good options here. I consider Zen Moment not a bad one, but I've become so stuck on moving target from the year 1 version of Black Scorpion that I just gotta go with it again. Considering aiming down sights will proc both moving target and rangefinder together, should be a pretty nasty combination. We've tried it before on things like pulse rifles. We had a Horus Lease that had a rangefinder and moving target on it together, and boys was it nasty. Now considering that we have rangefinder really boosting our range, in our magazine column guys, steady rounds is where we're gonna go with, tacking on some more stability, giving us some training wheels. For most of our maps we shouldn't have any damage fall off. And finally in our barrel column, I personally like arrowhead break. It's what I use currently on the year 1 version. It pretty much throws our recoil direction all the way up to 90, so it's almost perfectly vertical. And considering all that, a stability or range masterwork would be the ideal masterwork for me, either of those. And as far as a mod goes, I really don't know. You already got moving target on here. I guess if you wanted to give it an extra you could add a targeting adjuster mod. I don't know. I would have to look at my options to see what we can apply here as far as the best mod. Overall, Black Scorpion is a very good dueling weapon. Might not have the best time to kill against Guardians 3 Resilience or higher, but it has dueling capabilities. And I actually really like pairing it with Last Word. I know many of us use Last Word with snipers, and I like it with snipers as well. But I tried it with a scout rifle and I really liked it. Just allowed me to play super aggressive, and Black Scorpion is definitely a weapon you can still be aggressive with. Now moving on, out of all these changes, there is an oddball, which is Skyburner's Oath. Skyburner's Oath, when we look at the weapon, it states that it is a 200 round per minute scout. Now we've already proved this, I think a few months ago, we did a review on it. Skyburner's is not actually 200 rounds per minute. It shoots at 225, so it's actually faster. But whatever the case, it's still got a buff with the scout rifle buff in 2.1.4. So aiming down sights, the damage is still the same. Again, when you aim down the sights with Skyburner's Oath, it drops to 150 rounds per minute. It actually hits 66 per crit and 41 per body. So it is hitting 2 less damage per crit compared to other 150 round per minute scout rifles, but again, it does hit 3 more in the body shot department. Either way it goes, if you're gonna aim down sights of Skyburners, prepare the 3 crit if you wanna reach that 0.8 second TTK value. But moving on, the hip fire damage has now increased. Previously, there was 2 damage values. You had 24 damage plus 21. That is now increased to 25 plus 22, thus allowing Skyburners here to hit 47 damage per body. So technically, you can kill Guardians 2 Resilience or less in 4 body shots now, thus giving us a TTK value at 4 hip fire body shots of 0.8 seconds. Now, realistically, that's not going to be the case for a number of reasons. Skyburner's Oath is really funky in terms of its hip fire registration, more so than what it was last year when we did the AC 130 build. I don't know what's happening to Skyburners, guys. It used to be so much more accurate from the hip, and here lately, it just seems buggy. If Bungie ever actually grants this weapon increased hip fire accuracy, then this thing can become a monster. But until then, despite these damage values being higher than what it was pre 2.1.4, I really don't think it's going to matter. Now, where it is shining though is Skyburner's Oath is doing a lot more damage in PvE than other scout rifles. If you notice, all of our scout rifles in PvE received a 10% damage buff. Skyburners, on the other hand, when firing from the hip, received a 19% buff to its damage. I have no idea, guys, if this was intentional or not, but for those that are wanting to run through strikes or PvE activities and hip fire with your Skyburner's Oath, go right ahead. It is doing more damage now. Now, granted, you are taking up an exotic slot, so it all depends on your loadout. So guys, those are scout rifles for 2.1.4. I know this one took a little while, but this one had some oddballs in it. Skyburners was one that I kind of last minute questioned. But if you're looking for a scout rifle to do you well, that Black Scorpion roll that I recommended, rangefinder, moving target, steady rounds, and arrowhead break, that is the role that I'm looking for. That has been the most impressive scout rifle to me out of all of these scout rifle buffs. Now, as far as the mid to long range on our big maps, and the few that we actually have that we could say are big maps, 150 round per minute scout rifles are still king. Polaris Lance is still laying the wood, boys. So for my PvP players that are looking to just truly invest time into a dominant scout rifle, those 150s won't do you wrong, whether it's Jade or Polaris. And of course, you can use it on short range maps. You just got to get really good at landing crits. And I see a lot of players actually take it into Rumble to practice with it, because if you can kill people in Rumble that are constantly rushing you with shotguns with a 150 round per minute scout rifle, you can pretty much kill them anywhere. Well, fellas and ladies, y'all have a great Sunday. And as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.